Ah, shit. Here we go again. Worst place in the world.
Grand Theft Auto is one of those video games where, despite its mature rating, you'll see kids in middle school playing it at their local internet cafes. Yes, I'm shouting out internet cafes again, so having said that, I'll waste no time by letting you know up front that you can just guess how I got to play the legendary Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I recommend watching episodes 1 and 2 of the Gaming Nostalgia series for more context on the internet cafes. You might be surprised by the thumbnail of this video, which says that GTA San Andreas is one goofy crime simulator. That is exactly how I feel about it, and you will never change my mind. If my memories of me playing the game serves me correctly, I experienced so much fun and laughter from the goofy things that happened. Messing with the NPCs of GTA San Andreas was something I did more than the time I spent beating the game. This video is just about San Andreas, but this era of GTA games had a unique personality to them that I really adored. Yes, we all know that the Grand Theft Auto franchise had always strived to push the boundaries of various aspects of video games, but I can't help but feel that video games like San Andreas or Vice City wouldn't be as funny to me if not for their outdated animations, graphics, sounds, and so on. Now, I couldn't move on without mentioning the obvious satirical aspect of the Grand Theft Auto games on American values and cultures. Each installment of the GTA franchise parodied a particular region of the United States of America at some point in its history. For instance, GTA Vice City was a parody of Miami, Florida and its culture during the 80s. GTA 4 was a parody of the New York City area and its various cultures during the late 2000s. But one game in the GTA series stood out to me in this regard, and this game is the starring game of this video, GTA San Andreas. And for some random teenager from a third world country who had no idea what the USA was like, GTA San Andreas became their first look into their exaggerated but true cultures from a small slice of the United States of America. If you played GTA San Andreas at any point in your life, you know exactly what the title of this chapter means. HESOYAM, dubbed by some people as HESOYAM, is a cheat code for the PC version of San Andreas that gives you $250,000 of in-game money, full health, full armor, and repairs the vehicle you're riding. In the game, vehicles burst into flames a few seconds before they explode after taking a bunch of damage, and this cheat code can even save you from that. This is just one cheat code out of almost 100 that is in the game for you to use and exploit, but not all cheats grant you a particular gameplay advantage. There are cheat codes in the game that serve zero purpose other than causing something funny or outrageous to happen. The cheat code that I thought was hilarious is State of Emergency. This causes all the NPCs to start rioting on the streets of San Andreas. Street fighting, shooting, reckless driving, you name it. Cars will randomly catch fire and explode. News and police helicopters are flying overhead. Street lights and intersection lights malfunction. I wonder what all of this is a reference to. The funniest thing that I'll ever see and never forget using this cheat is the NPCs that appear to have taken advantage of the rioting. Even grandmas who probably need assistance getting up in the morning can be seen carrying these heavy CRT TVs back to wherever their home is. You see, this is just one of those goofy things that I will always be fond of in this game. One interesting mechanic in this game is that some vehicles explode in spectacular fashion when they do. As far as I can remember, planes seem to explode the most in regard to force and frequency. When you use cheats to spawn vehicles, you can exploit what is presumably a bug and stack multiple vehicles inside of each other. This can only be achieved when you keep your character Carl Johnson in the same position and camera angle. Because you have to type out cheat codes, some codes inevitably intersect with keys that move CJ around. So what's the one vehicle whose cheat code will move CJ and explodes the most? That would be the Hydra military jet, with the corresponding cheat code Jump Jet. Have you ever played Minecraft? This might be in a future video, by the way. But okay, so in Minecraft, you can explode TNT. Because of the sandbox nature of Minecraft, you can pretty much explode as much TNT as you want, as long as they're physically loaded in a given area. But of course, simulating explosions from tens of thousands of TNT that can affect the landscape, affect you, NPCs, and also produce sound, that takes a huge toll on your computer or phone if you're playing on the Pocket Edition. So now you see where I'm going with this in GTA San Andreas. Yes, every now and then, I would spawn a bunch of fighter jets in on themselves and let them explode. The results are spectacular. If you spawned enough of them, you might just be able to crash the game. Although, the limit probably depends on how fast your computer is. I don't really know how to explain it, but I loved seeing the explosions push the FPS of the game all the way down to 0. Even if that doesn't happen, the explosion sound effect in GTA San Andreas just felt funny to me in some way. Somewhat cartoony, I would say. With all that said, this is only 3 cheat codes out of nearly 100 in the game. You can only guess how much time I spent messing around with them and having the time of my life. Cheat codes are cheat codes, but they wouldn't be as entertaining to me if the rest of the game didn't complement them. That is why in the next chapter, I'll give you a rundown of the supporting cast members that truly made this game goofy to me. More often than not, most video games will censor or even omit certain things that might seem too violent. No, I'm not talking about that kind of adult content. Grand Theft Auto has never been shy with their depiction of death and injury, especially in their more recent installments like GTA 5. Even GTA's sister series, Red Dead Redemption, had plenty of content that is worthy of being labeled as mature. However, considering GTA San Andreas' age, its depiction of certain violent elements was not meant to be realistic, but exaggerated purely to let the player know that what the intended effect is. So why is this chapter named Looney Tunes? One of the most memorable sound effects in GTA San Andreas is the crunching of bones. You can hear this whenever you run over NPCs with the vehicle, or when you fall to your death, or in rare occasions when you die from your health bar going empty. I have no idea how or where they sourced the sound for this, but the fact that it sounds artificial or synthesized makes it feel goofy for me for some reason. This might be a stretch, but it reminds me of a little bit of the sound effects used in cartoons like Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry. I haven't heard bones crunch in real life, but trust me, the exaggerated noise they play in San Andreas sounds funny and gnarly at the same time. By the time I'm 80 years old, I can probably still recall this exact sound effect from my memories. Even if the bone crunching sound doesn't play, the other noises that the NPCs make when they die are utterly hilarious to me. Again, it all sounds Looney Tunes-like to me. Now, sounds weren't the only thing that I found funny in San Andreas. It was the reaction of NPCs to your actions that was the icing on the cake. For instance, if you damage an NPC's car, they'll either drive off in a panic or they'll get out of the car so they can beat you up. If they do the latter, they'll sometimes have weapons like a golf club or a shovel. In any case, they always have this animation when this event triggers. Because the certain animation you use for every single time an NPC gets angry from the car being damaged, it became iconic to me. Okay, so this in itself isn't that funny, but let me finish. There's actually a rare chance that this animation will play when an NPC is about to get run over by you. Yes, I'm being serious. Just take a look at this clip. This is just so absurd that I can't help but find it funny. I couldn't find any information on whether these things were intended by the developers or not. Things like these are why I adore this game so much outside of the gameplay and story. We all should realize at this point in 2024 that the Grand Theft Auto games have always been parodies about American culture. Whether it's about Miami in the 80s or New York City in the 2000s, GTA has always captured the most prominent stereotypes of these places and eras in their games. Lester the Molester has something to say about it in this scene from GTA 5.
What the f is wrong with the West Coast?
Oh, nothing. I love it here. Everyone's so numbed by the sun that if you use a 3-syllable word, they think you're a professor.
Just imagine how clueless I was seeing and experiencing GTA San Andreas in its full form. Racial stereotypes and obvious racism, public displays of sexual imagery, and the unhinged NPCs that murder each other at a moment's notice. These things were on full display for a young kid like me back in the days for me to see. These things are obviously exaggerated. There are still valid commentaries on what happens in real life, other than the things that I just mentioned. San Andreas also features many different ethnic gangs, from the Italian and Russian mafias, the Chinese Triad, Los Santos Vagos, and so on. Of course, when we consider these gangs, they play a huge role in the story and the gameplay of GTA San Andreas. Even the police in the game are somewhat of a gang in regard to this. Naturally, all of these elements need a canvas to be drawn on, and the open world of San Andreas is the perfect canvas for it. Yes, GTA 5 is arguably the best installment in the franchise in regard to how well they depicted the Los Angeles area and some parts of California. If GTA 5 is the best in this regard, then GTA San Andreas was also the best in this regard with the technology and resources that its developers had during its era. The playable map of GTA San Andreas features 5 locations that are parodies of real-life locations. The city that you start the game in is Los Santos, which is obviously a parody of Los Angeles in the state of California. Up north, you'll find Las Venturas, which is a parody of Las Vegas in the state of Nevada. Next to Las Venturas, you'll find Bone County, which is a parody of the infamous classified government facility, Area 51, and the nearby Death Valley National Park, also in the state of Nevada. On the far west side of the map, you'll find San Fierro, which is a parody of San Francisco in the state of California. Lastly, you'll find Mount Chiliad and Flint County on the south of San Fierro, which could be a parody of the various national parks and mountains in the state of California, although I'm not 100% certain about this. Having this many real-life locations depicted in one game on one giant open-world map in the mid-2000s is kind of crazy. Believe it or not, GTA San Andreas was somewhat of a geography lesson for me of the west coast of the United States. As a kid, I knew nothing about US geography other than the skyscrapers of New York City I would see in movies and other media, and San Andreas' diversity in landscape and biomes was perfectly depicted for me to understand the geography of a good chunk of the west coast, at least at an introductory level. To close this chapter, consider its title, American Studies. Yes, even if everything is exaggerated, you can easily make the argument that Grand Theft Auto games do a very good job of displaying a lot of cultures and stereotypes that exist in the United States of America, as well as its geographic locations. Of course, even though I said a lot, the USA is much vaster and much more diverse than that. In any case, this is one of the reasons why Grand Theft Auto franchise is extremely successful. I could go on for hours having a deep conversation about this, but this video series isn't meant to do that. When I grew up and went to college in the United States, it didn't take long for me to recognize things in real life from the video games that I played in my childhood. One of those video games is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I would eventually play GTA 5 as well, but San Andreas will always hold a special place in my heart. I had so much fun doing goofy and funny things in the game, and thought that the single player campaign of the game is the best fictional stories that I ever consumed. What other games showed me around the United States before I came here? Well, you'll have to find that out on the next episode of Gaming Nostalgia. Thank you so very much for watching this video. If you enjoy this content, such as feeling nostalgic about video games and other things in general, consider liking and subscribing. This motivates me to create more content like this in the future. Thank you.